Hi, how are you? Welcome along to Jeff's Stamps. I want to talk to you about some stamps from the Republic of Maluku, Selatan. I hope I pronounced that right. Selatan, Maluku, Selatan. This is a map here to show you in relation to Indonesia. There's Indonesia there. And these little islands here are Maluku, Selatan, also under Indonesian rule. But I've got some history on those islands there and the struggle that they have had, and some special stamps. Well, Cinderella stamps anyway, but some special stamps for the actual island there, or the islands. You can see a little group there of those islands sitting in there. So the history is a little checkered, but the Maluku Selatan is Indonesian and can be translated as South Moluccas or Moluccas, Moluccas, a group of islands located in Indonesia. So when the Dutch government finally gave up on the idea of retaking the former Dutch East Indies toward the end of the 1940s, there were many ideas about the future of the new Indonesian nation. The people of the South Moluccas imaged a federal state with a considerable degree of regional autonomy, and unlike most other parts of Indonesia, the South Moluccas region has a mainly Christian population. However, the leadership in Jakarta chose a centralised form of government which did not at all meet the demands of the South Moluccans. So this was the main reason why the South Moluccans declared an independent state, Republic Maluku Selatan, in April 1950. And the main parts of the new republic were the islands of Ambon, Baru and Seram. So this was something which the Indonesian government could not accept. There was a complete sea blockade of the new republic, and armed forces were dispatched to Ambon, and the might of the Indonesian armed forces was far too much to the resistance offered by the rebels. And in the autumn, Indonesian control of Ambon had been completely taken. So this didn't mean the end of the Republic Maluku Selatan. Despite the loss of Ambon, the rebels concentrated their forces on the much larger island of Seram, where guerrilla warfare continued until the armed struggle finally ended in 1963. Well, since 1966, there is a South Moluccan government in exile, and they're based in the Netherlands, believe it or not. Well, during the period 1950 to 1954, a large number of pictorial South Moluccan stamps reached the philatelic marketplace. And they had most probably been authorised by representatives of the South Moluccan government based in New York, but they were never postally used. So these pictorial sets of stamps were printed in huge quantities. And they were printed in the Soviet zone of Austria. The stamps had designs featuring birds, animals, flowers, fish, other designs, butterflies. I think I mentioned that. They were distributed from the USA, except for the first 1950 set. They do not exist on first day covers, nor do they exist cancelled to order. So some philatelic writers have chosen to divide the sets into two groups, with the first one being politically motivated in a bid to seek international recognition for the South Moluccan struggle for independence, or at least self-determination. And the second group of sets was entirely intended to be marketed to thematic collectors. Well, the first group includes the following sets: UPU 75 years, 1950, General Douglas MacArthur, 1950, I'm about to show you that, and the United Nations 6 years, 1951, which I'll show you. But very possibly the plan was for the South Moluccans to receive support and recognition from the USA But all this happened during the Korean War, where General MacArthur, who lived from 1880 to 1964, played a leading role and most probably didn't have any time for a sort of an obscure rebellion in Indonesia. So here's this Douglas MacArthur. If I can grab it here, I'll just show you quickly. So General MacArthur saluting liberated Southeast Asia, Republic Maluku, Selatan. And this was 1951. It's a Cinderella and offset lithography. Yeah, so as I said, during the period of 1950 to 54, a large number of pictorial South Malaccan stamps reached the philatelic marketplace, pictorial stamps, and they've most probably been authorised by representatives of the South Malaccan government who were based in New York, but they were never postally used, hence the Cinderellas. So I've got a couple of other ones of that MacArthur stamp. These were all printed in Cinderella stamp, 1951. These hinges should come off nicely with a bit of a soaking. And these Cinderellas are in superb condition. Some are hinged and some aren't. All 1951. That's the last I've got in that set. So it is quite interesting, when you look into some stamps in the history and of what happened, linking into the politics and the struggle of some areas around the globe. That's why stamp collecting, you can just learn so much. From a linguistic point of view, the South Malaccan stamp issues are very, very interesting, extremely interesting. It's interesting to note that one of the UPU issues and the MacArthur and UN sets were issued both perforated and imperforate. Now I've only got, I've got a couple of imperforate ones here, which I'll show you. All of the other ones I've shown you so far, I've got the perforations around the side. But until 1951, the stamps have values in the Indonesian currency of rupiah and sen. However, it seems that there was a currency reform in 1952 introducing the rimas, which could be divided into various amounts. But in all probability, this was very much an imaginary change. So the first pictorial set of stamps was released in 1952, and that features different butterflies in inverted triangular format, which was a good choice considering the shape of most butterflies. And I've got some here. These have all got perforations around the edge. From the series Butterflies, 1952, Cinderella, some very colourful beautifully printed. Yeah, so very nicely printed. Cinderella stamps there as well. So I hope you've enjoyed or enjoying these unusual Cinderellas, these Cinderellas in stamp format. The stamps must have been really thought out, and with the designs very colourful, and also representing a group of people who have always been struggling for their independence. So 1954 issues feature small mammals. I don't have any of those, in 18 different values. We have airmail stamps. There's a few of those. I don't have any of those airmail stamps. Tropical fishes were depicted on some triangular issues as well. 1954 started with a new set of no less than 24 stamps in traditional rectangular format. Those ones featuring flowers. All sorts of different stamps and different varieties and different designs as well. So a great unusual little set of stamps there to collect. So it's hard to correctly classify these stamps, but the initiative might have come from the South Moluccan rebel government, but the stamps never reached any post offices on the islands during the short period of South Moluccan independence. But when the sets of stamps had been printed in Vienna, only a limited guerrilla activity remained in the jungles of one of the islands called Serem. So it's unclear if the people of the South Moluccas ever benefited from the sale of these actual stamps. So there's a UN set of stamps with 3 words in French as well, but later issues have POS in Indonesian, and postage in England. And some of the early UPU stamps, UPU standing for Universal Postal Union stamps, show the word Luchtpost, which is airmail in Dutch. So this is this United Nations stamp, and you can see it's imperforate. Cinderella. The printing is photogravure, and it was issued in 1951. And just out of interest, Universal Postal Union, 75 years, 1950, Cinderella stamp as well from that area, with a very short independence. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you found that little bit of history, interesting about the Maluku, Selatan, sort of mysterious stamps. And I've got some very interesting, well, by the way, just before I sign off, here's some more United Nations stamps here as well, all from 1951, from the Republic of Maluku, Selatan, or Selatan. Thanks very much for watching. Please click that bell icon and give us a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. If you consider doing that, that would be absolutely marvelous. And I'll be with you again with another interesting stamp video. The next one I want to feature are some Mexican stamps, which I think you'll find quite interesting. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.